Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Kasangi. I'm an area manager with Arbonne International, and I am coming to you today just to share a little bit more about our 30 Days to Healthy Living and Beyond program. One of the really um, critical parts of this program is just how much vitality it gives back to us, because the facts are that most of us don't really value health until sickness comes. And, we don't live in a society that really puts a whole lot of emphasis or education on preventative measures and being proactive and empowered to really embrace your health until it starts to deteriorate. And then we start getting all the information and all the empowerment to take control to get better and then hopefully not get sick again. So the beauty of this program is that it really helps to empower you, to teach you, to help you learn about the food industry and nutrition and how that industry and that food serves you on a personal level. This is not a one size fits all. You're really going to learn a lot to become empowered, to understand your personal relationship with food, and learn how food serves you on an individual basis rather than being put into a cookie cutter formation of, this is bad, stay away from it. It really helps you to explore and figure out what is best for you. At the end of the day, many people don't realize that fatigue, foggy thinking, poor sleep, excess weight, especially that around the stomach, the hips, the thighs, particularly for us women, and even our aging skin, all of those things can indicate nutritional deficiencies, but those are things that can also be reversed by taking on adequate nutrition and really giving our bodies what it needs. So adopting a healthier lifestyle for you and your family can really be easy to talk about, but it's often super difficult to get started with and definitely difficult to stick with, especially if you don't have a plan. So the 30 Days to Healthy Living program gives us the plan and the tools and the support and the resources to not only go day by day, but to also keep with it until we get to our desired goals and success. Really, this program focuses on 5 key areas of wellness. The first is we learn how to eat clean. The second, we learn how to increase our nutrient intake. Third, we eliminate allergenic and addictive foods. Fourth, we learn how to balance our blood sugar. And 5, we learn how to support elimination organs. All 5 of these areas are supported by Arbonne's whole food nutritional line that is certified vegan, free of gluten, dairy, soy, no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, and no artificial sweeteners. So really this program is whole food based. It's about learning to use food for wellness. It's food for fuel to help us in our everyday life, but really it's learning how to utilize that food and how that food serves us. The products come into play because they support the process. And I'm gonna explain each one of those 5 points that we hope to gain on this program and introduce how the products play a role in that supportive role. So the first concept of eating clean. This plan focuses on eating organic whole foods that are free of preservatives, additives, pesticides, hormones. There's no antibiotics, no artificial flavors, and we try to avoid all other toxins because at the end of the day, food is either fuel or poison. So simply put, anything that can't be used by the body as energy is perceived as a toxin. So we really try to help you learn how to navigate the food world in order to bring in clean fuel. So organic fruits and vegetables actually contain up to 40% more antioxidants than those that are conventionally grown. So this plan is going to help you learn how to fuel your body for optimal health by eating clean and close to nature and toxin-free, okay? And I know sometimes this might be causing some of you to kind of, take a step back and raise your eyebrows and get a little nervous because we don't live in a society that is where organic foods and clean eating is super available in all places. So we're going to teach you how to decipher between foods, to know which is a cleaner option, which is going to serve your body in a better way. So if you're stuck between, hey, I can't buy organic, but I'm looking at these choices, or hey, I can get this organic, but it's not necessarily on the ideal list, which is better? And we're going to help you kind of navigate that muddy water, so to speak. Ultimately, learning that at the end of the day, it's about doing the best you can with the resources you have and the budget you have. So we all come to the table with different accessibility, with different opportunities, as well as different limitations and restrictions. So this program will lock arms with you to help you on your individual journey, knowing that your journey may look very different from someone else's within the confines of the program. I hope that makes sense. The second point is we're going to help to increase nutrient intake. Unfortunately, due to an overabundance of prepackaged and fast food, convenience food, ready-to-make food, many people today are very overweight, yet malnourished. And unfortunately, this is an epidemic that is much worse here in the United States than in any other country in the world. People carry toxic fat while their bodies are still starving for real nutrition. We have a lot of excess, but unfortunately, not enough of the fuel that our body can use and the nutrients that our body can use to be well. This condition can be reversed by eating whole foods and supplementing with nutrients to fill in the possible deficiencies created by the fact that our soil is just mineral deficient in comparison to what it used to be. All right, the third thing we're going to do is we're going to eliminate allergenic and addictive foods. Okay, so many people experience symptoms of premature aging or poor health, and they have absolutely no idea that the solution could be as simple as removing possible food allergens. So this plan includes removing possible allergenic foods like gluten, dairy, soy, and processed sugars. And honestly, if you cringe at that, if that just totally made you like, I can't do this, here's what you need to know. If you cringe at the thought of removing a certain food, then chances are it's not serving your body well. And, it's probably aiding and causing and exacerbating a lot of the negative things that you're trying to change, whether it be weight gain or pain from inflammation or poor skin, whatever. Generally speaking, the food that you crave is often the food that is killing you. So a little more in depth about that, gluten is something that you're probably hearing a whole lot more about. It is, there is more understanding of it than there ever used to be, more awareness than we ever had. But simply put, gluten is a family of proteins found in grains. They are thick and gooey and make things stick together when baked instead of just falling apart. And it's estimated that 50% of the population has a difficulty with breaking down gluten in their intestines. So when the immune system recognizes gluten in the gut as a foreign protein, what it does is it attacks and as a result, it damages our own intestinal wall. In turn, that can cause the intestines to swell with water, creating bloating and that potbelly effect that many of us have. Eventually, the intestinal walls become so thin that they start absorbing things that they really shouldn't be. They start absorbing things that would ideally be blocked. So those toxins, those things that our body doesn't look at as fuel, are actually penetrating into our system and cause an array of problems, including, but not exclusive to, I'm going to address a few of them. One, allergies. So lots of times we don't think about how the food we eat can be impacting our allergies. We think of maybe allergies to food, but how about seasonal allergies? I will tell you, prior to my discovering that my food trigger that was sabotaging my health was gluten, prior to discovering that, I had terrible allergies. I didn't really have a lot as a kid, but once I graduated from college, they were awful. To the point where I was getting weekly allergy shots, was on an array of medications. I was getting chronic sinus infections, or so we thought, all these different things because of The underlier was the fact that my gut was being destroyed by gluten. Now, what's interesting to note is I did not have digestive issues, okay, but I had headaches, I had congestion, I had the postnasal drip, all those things associated with allergies. Once I eliminated gluten, I was able to stop and I'm not telling you to do this, but for me, because it was such a severe trigger, once I eliminated gluten from my diet, I was able to stop my allergy shots cold turkey and have never had an issue since. Okay, that's how big of an instigator or a catalyst gluten was in sabotaging my health. But understanding how can gluten lead to allergies. Here's an example. The tips of the villi in the intestines produce an enzyme that digests the lactose in milk. So since they're the first to go, the very first symptom of gluten intolerance for many would be to see a milk allergy. And that can manifest itself as a stuffy nose, postnasal drip, those things that occur when you have dairy products. But a lot of us I didn't realize that those symptoms were exacerbated when I had milk. But here's what you need to know. Because gluten was my trigger, when I eliminated gluten and got off of that, I gained a tolerance to milk, and that no longer bothers me to the severe degree. It's still an inflammatory, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It raises inflammation in the body, and so your body has that reaction, but not to the extent that it was. In addition, gluten, because of the damage it does to the intestinal tract, it can result in decreased immune function. The constant load on the immune system, as the body continues to fight off the foreign proteins that are gluten, but it's perceiving it as foreign proteins in the digestive tract, as that continues to happen, it impairs its ability to do its job elsewhere. So your immune system ends up working so hard within your own gut that it's not available to serve you elsewhere. Meanwhile, the clogs, you might be getting clogged sinuses and unhealthy intestinal walls create the perfect home for harmful bacteria to multiply, making you more susceptible to infections and just anything that goes around. So for me, I had gotten to the point where if somebody sneezed around me, I was going to be sick because I was already harboring that harmful bacteria. In addition, I mentioned that I was having chronic sinus infections. I was told if I had one more sinus infection, I would have to have surgery. So I did get one more sinus infection. They took me in, they did a CT scan, and it turned out my sinuses weren't actually infected. They were just incredibly inflamed, and that was coming as a result of my gluten sensitivity. So I ended up, not having surgery, obviously, but once I got rid of gluten, I have had no issues with my sinus since. Now, that's my experience. That doesn't mean that's going to be everybody's experience. I'm just sharing it as an illustration of how absolutely life-changing identifying our own individual triggers can be in our health journey. I hate to think about where I would be today if I had not discovered gluten as my trigger 15 years ago, because I was going down a road of severe autoimmune distress. I hurt all the time. I was swollen. I was puffy. I had no energy. I was chronically fatigued. I had severe headaches and migraines, just all these different things that, doctors were just kind of baffled by. And they kind of just, sometimes when that happens, we kind of scratch our head and think that it's just in somebody's mind. But for me, it was all based on the gluten. So once I eliminated that, all of those symptoms went away. And I'm just so grateful for it. But another thing that happens as a result of when there's a sensitivity to gluten is adrenal function is affected, because the constant adrenal load created by the chronic inflammation. And again, this is not even even if you're not necessarily sensitive to gluten, like have a severe sensitivity, gluten does result in inflammation. So when you get a lot of that chronic inflammation of the intestines will eventually lead to the adrenals having to overwork and creating an insufficiency or adrenal exhaustion. So the more severe the inflammation, the more triggers in your nutritional load that you have, the more inflammation you're going to have on board, and the more likely that you're going to have impacted adrenal function. As the adrenals become impaired, many other symptoms manifest themselves, including back to allergies, slow weight gain, and loss of energy. Another food group that we eliminate for the 30 days in order to identify how our body responds to it once we reintroduce it is dairy. Despite the widespread notion that milk is healthy, drinking pasteurized milk is frequently associated with worsening health. Sally Fallon of the Weston Price Foundation states that pasteurization destroys enzymes, diminishes vitamin content, denatures fragile milk proteins, destroys vitamin B12 and vitamin B6, kills beneficial bacteria, promotes pathogens, and is associated with allergies. Only 30% of the calcium in a cup of milk actually gets absorbed, and you would get twice as much calcium from a cup of broccoli. Many leafy green vegetables or green leafy vegetables are actually really, really loaded with calcium. So that's just one example of how we help you to learn to identify some substitutions so that you're maximizing your nutrient intake despite the fact that you're making shifts in what you normally would use to get those nutrients. So I hope that makes sense. In addition, we eliminate soy. Soy contains phytoestrogens that can mimic the effects of the female hormone estrogen. So these phytoestrogens have been found to have adverse effects on various human tissue. Drinking 2 glasses of soy milk daily for 1 month has actually been shown to be enough of the chemical to alter a woman's menstrual cycle. I do want you to note, because you might see it in our protein powder, but soy lecithin does not have the same effect and is actually safe for those that are sensitive to soy. In addition, we eliminate refined sugar. And this is where a lot of you might go, no, not my sugar. But guys, sugar is the single most item that we have in our diet that actually paralyzes our immune system. So, and it is the greatest inflammatory that we consume. Refined sugar has actually been stripped of all nutrients and drains and leaches the body of precious vitamins and minerals. So sugar taken every day produces a continuously acidic condition, which affects every organ in the body. Initially, sugar gets stored in the liver. So a daily intake of refined sugar makes the liver expand like a balloon. When the liver is filled to its maximum capacity, then the excess sugar is returned to the blood in the form of fatty acids. These are stored and seen in the most inactive areas of the body, such as the belly, the buttocks, and the thighs. But in contrast, unrefined sugar, like sugarcane that you will find in our protein powder, and stevia, and some of those that come directly from the plant source, they contain minerals that the body needs. And there's actually been studies that have shown sugarcane in its natural form like that has actually been shown to help stabilize blood sugars. So that's pretty awesome. So this is where we have some products that are going to help support our intestinal health and repair, because remember, all of these things that we've been doing up until this point are causing damage and irritation to the gut. So even though we're removing the irritants, now we need to promote the healing so that we can get optimal performance out of our intestinal tract. So one of the items we use is our Digestion Plus. Our Digestion Plus contains 11 digestive enzymes. It contains prebiotics and probiotics to help support intestinal walls, the intestinal wall tissue that is often damaged by allergenic and inflammatory foods. So the digestive enzymes are there to make sure that we can break food down more easily. The prebiotics are actually the food for the probiotics, and the probiotics scrub away the yeast overgrowth that tends to take place in the lower GI and is fed by sugar, by the way, and therefore it helps to reestablish the friendly bacteria. Dr. Michael McCann, an MD physician and researcher, states that probiotics will be to medicine in the 21st century as antibiotics and microbiology were in the 20th century. Okay, so the easiest way to do these, you can actually sprinkle it right on your tongue. For me, it's a lot of powder. Some people really don't like the taste either. So I think the simplest way to do this is first thing when you get up, put it in a cup, add just enough water, like an ounce or so of water, just enough to dissolve it, and then take it like a shot. Super easy. In addition, we talked about the fact that we are eliminating gluten, dairy, soy. Okay, so for a lot of people, that's in a lot of food. So it's like, okay, what are we going to eat? And this is where we bring into place our protein powder. Okay, so it does help to replace that gluten, dairy, and soy. The Arbonne Essentials protein shakes are certified vegan, free of gluten and soy. They are loaded with more than 20 essential vitamins and minerals, Plus, they contain Arbonne's exclusive Energy Flex and Protein Matrix blends, which help you feel satisfied longer. The chocolate actually smells like brownie mix. The vanilla smells like cake mix. They taste awesome. And the main source is that they combine 3 vegetable proteins, the yellow pea, cranberry, and rice, in order to give you a complete branch chain amino acid profile, which is what we need for our body to repair tissue and build muscle and all of that great stuff. In addition, there's no trans fats, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavors or colors. So the reason, and this is, I'm going to address this because this is, I think, one of the biggest objections I hear, and I will be honest, it was one of my biggest concerns and objections, is the idea of having a program that really 2 of your meals you're drinking. Okay, I like to eat. I want real food. And I believe that we can get everything we need through real food, which we can. We can get it through eating clean. But remember, I talked back to our guts being damaged and destroyed, and we need to help them heal on this program so that we can increase that healthy bacterial load, make sure that the walls are strong, intestinal walls are strong, so that we're only, the things that should be penetrating are the only things that are penetrating. All of those things, we can eliminate the triggers, but we have to promote the healing. So while that healing is taking place, a liquid meal is much easier to digest and actually supports that healing process, okay? So, we've talked about, you've heard probably raw vegetables can be tough to digest because of how much fiber and stuff there is in there. We're gonna add fiber to our shakes that is super easy to absorb, okay? So you're not getting the irritation of just the basic digestion process. So that's why we encourage you to that's one reason for the liquid, the 2 shakes a day. In addition, it takes less energy for digestion when we're drinking our meals. And that leaves energy for our body to really focus on the detoxification process of eliminating the stored toxicity as we're helping to support our elimination organs to get stronger, which I'll talk more about in a second. So I hope that makes sense. And again, we're going to work with you to personalize the program based on what it is your needs are. All of us are coming to this kind of with our guts in a different state to begin with. So I hope that makes sense too. Okay, the 4th thing we're going to really work on is balancing the blood sugar. So the 30 Days to Healthy Living and Beyond program encourages eating low on the glycemic index scale for many reasons. High, moderate, and low glycemic index is simply a measure of how a given food affects our blood sugar levels, with each food being assigned a numbered rating. So the lower the rating, the more gradual the infusion of sugars into the bloodstream, and the more balanced our blood sugar will remain. Okay. High glycemic meals will cause you to feel hungry soon after you eat. So eating a low glycemic meal reduces your hunger cravings. Okay. So when the blood sugar goes up in response to a high glycemic meal, a process called glycation takes place, which promotes thinning up the skin, wrinkles, and more wrinkles. So you can see just one more example of how what we eat doesn't just affect our digestive tract and the weight on our body, but it also affects our aging. It's not just candy bars and cupcakes that elevate blood sugar, but also many foods that are high in glycemic index are pasta, bread, potatoes, white rice. There's a lot of really high glycemic fruits that are also responsible for this. So we're going to teach you how to be aware of that, and also how to balance your food, whether it's, a carb with a protein and a fat, to make sure that you help your blood sugar to stay stable, which in turn is going to help your metabolism to burn stronger and be more effective. Okay, so a couple of products that help to support this. Probably, if you've heard anything about Arbonne's nutrition, you've heard about our Energy Fizz Sticks. Okay, so we have them both in citrus and pomegranate, and these can be used between meals to help curb appetite without elevating blood sugar. They have a slight fizz to them. If you don't like fizz, then just let them sit for a little bit, stir them around, and that will disseminate, and you won't have a fizzy drink. It will flatten. But they are a combination of green tea and other herbs that have been clinically proven to boost metabolism and sustain energy. They are loaded with B vitamins, guarana, chromium, all things that have been shown to give energy. In addition, those B vitamins are awesome for helping to support your immune system. In addition, they help promote proper pH, which helps to aid in detoxification. Okay, these are free of artificial sugars, artificial sweeteners, and are only $10 or $10 calories per stick, which is awesome. The recommended amount of water, you just pour them into your water. Recommended amount is 8 to 16 ounces. I will say I usually use at least 16 ounces per stick. My favorite is to combine pomegranate with citrus and 32 ounces of ice water, and I squeeze a little lime in it as well. It's super yummy. In addition, and I don't have this right here in front of me, but our Fiber Boost. Okay, so it comes in a bag about maybe a third of the size, half the size of our protein powder, of our protein powder, and it's called our Daily Fiber Boost. It helps to enhance your dietary fiber intake with 12 grams of fiber that will account for nearly half of the recommended daily amount of fiber that you need. It is odorless, tasteless, flavorless. It is a blend of soluble fiber that can be added to any foods, beverages, hot, cold. It can be thrown right into your protein shakes. It can be sprinkled on your fruit and you won't even know it's there. And trust me, I had to try it to believe it, because I thought if I could see it, I must be able to detect it, but I couldn't. So this Fiber Boost is actually derived from fruit, grains, and vegetables. And in addition, it helps to soothe the colon, helps you to feel satisfied longer, and supports balanced blood sugar. Fiber acts as a sponge, so it helps to absorb all of the sugar and toxins that you want to eliminate and helps to push it out of the body. Okay, we recommend starting with about 1/4 of a scoop to half a scoop, and then gradually increasing till you find your balance of what is right for you. Scientists have established that anything that causes a rise in our blood sugar results in inflammation on a cellular level. And it's been stated that inflammation is at the basis of virtually every single disease process out there. So what happens when our blood sugar goes up rapidly and continually, the sugar can actually attach to the collagen in our skin, which makes it stiff and inflexible. So when your collagen is cross-linked by sugar, you end up with stiff and sagging skin, as well as increased inflammation in the body that supports the disease process. So definitely want to decrease all of that. And then the final aspect that we focus on in our program is supporting our elimination organs. Because as good as the 30 Days to Healthy Living is, it would be incomplete if it did not support the body's 4 elimination pathways: the liver, the kidneys, the intestines, and our largest detoxifying organ, our skin. It's nearly impossible to avoid all the toxins that we come in contact with on a daily basis. I mean, we can't stop breathing, we can't stop, using water altogether. But what happens is if toxins enter your body faster than they're removed, you're going to experience signs of toxicity. Some of those signs might be fatigue, headaches, aches and pain, increased weight gain, allergies, and the list goes on and on. If, on the other hand, you give your body the support it needs to eliminate the toxins, it's going to perform optimally, and you're going to feel younger and more vital than ever. So we have a couple of products that help to support the liver, the kidneys, and the intestines. When you stop and think about it, you wouldn't go a day, definitely not more than a day, without brushing your teeth, let alone going years and years. But because we can't see our liver and our kidneys and our intestines, we forget the important role that they play in the detoxification process. The liver actually has over 500 functions, and the kidneys filter 200 quarts of blood per day. And did you know that you can hold 5 to 25 pounds of waste in your large intestine, which is the colon? Just think if you were able to utilize, increase the healing, decrease the inflammation, and provide the nutrition that you needed, along with the fiber to grab a hold of the 5 to 25 pounds of waste to get rid of it, how much sugar would you feel? And that's just because your body doesn't need it already. All elimination organs, just like everything else in our life, needs a tune-up and proper maintenance. So our 2 big supporters of that in the program is the first is our Arbonne Essential Herbal Detox Tea. This assists in daily cleansing of the liver and kidneys by helping the body to filter and clear toxins. In turn, it also helps, because of supporting the liver, it helps the liver to do the roles that it's charged with on a daily basis more effectively. So it's going to help to regulate cholesterol, balance blood sugar, and promote weight loss. Many people are very unaware that liver dysfunction is more closely related to obesity than any other single factor. At the end of the day, the fact is an overburdened liver is one of the many, many reasons that people plateau during weight loss. Because even if So one of the things that happens when people are losing weight, they watch their calories, they're watching what they eat, they're decreasing what they're bringing in, they're increasing their weight loss. So from a caloric standpoint, they're bringing less calories in than they're eating. So they're losing weight, right? But then they plateau and they get stuck. And people say, well, why is that? Well, it's because they haven't affected their toxin intake. Okay. So if you have more toxins coming in than what your liver and your kidneys can effectively manage, then your body's going to surround that toxin with fat cells and store it. Okay. And if you don't lower the amount of toxins coming in, your liver and kidneys are never going to have the extra capacity to ultimately burn what's been stored because they're just so overworked with keeping up with what's coming in on a regular basis. So we need to decrease what's coming in by eating clean, right? Decrease what's coming in, support the liver and kidneys to maximize their function. So now not only do they easily handle what's coming in, but they can begin to get rid of and burn what's been stored. So I hope that makes sense. All right, the final product we're going to talk about in supporting our elimination is our Arbonne Essential 7-Day Body Cleanse. This helps to cleanse and detoxify the system and support the liver, kidneys, and gastrointestinal tract, the GI tract. It is made up of a variety of sea botanicals that help to assist with gentle elimination of heavy metals and other environmental toxins that we are exposed to. You're going to use this over a 7-day period, okay? So you're going to use it over a 7-day period, and we recommend using it in the 3rd week of your program, exactly for the reasons I just talked about. The first 2 weeks are going to be about learning to decrease your toxic intake, eat clean, give your body what it needs, support the kidneys and liver to be able to work more effectively, so that now when you do this, your body's working, your kidneys and liver know that they can get rid of what's been stored and effectively do that, so that your body will burn the fat cells, release the toxins, and get rid of them, rather than burn the fat cells and not be able to eliminate them, and you ultimately would end up sick. So I hope that makes sense. This program, it's just, you're going to learn so much, and you're going to be so empowered from a nutritional standpoint. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our final detoxification organ, which is our skin. Our skin is our largest detoxifying organ, and it's designed to both absorb nutrients and release toxins. Many people are super careful about what they put in their mouths, and that's what we're talking about here in this program, but we don't always consider the toxins that we're putting on our skin every day. And it's been proven that it only takes 26 seconds for a toxic ingredient in skincare to find its way into every organ of your body. So for over 30 years, Arbonne has formulated botanically based skincare free of artificial dyes, fragrances, no animal products, no animal byproducts, and other chemicals that would otherwise enter your body and affect your health. So Arbonne's personal care products support that healthy lifestyle by reducing the number of toxins entering the body and reversing the damage caused by a poor diet, like we just talked about with this program. So I encourage you to get back with your consultant to explore a little bit further, to find the right fit for you. If it's joining us completely for one of our 30 Days to Healthy Living boot camps, awesome. We would love to have you. We would love to lock arms with you, because as a result of that boot camp, you're going to get daily posts educating you in bite-sized pieces so that you're not overwhelmed. You're going to get that daily support to know that you're not alone in this process. You're going to have other people cheering you on. In addition, we're going to take the guesswork out by giving you meal plans right down to the shopping list. Okay, now, do you have to use every single recipe that you're given? No, you figure out what works best for you. But we take the guesswork out for those that need it super, super simple. I believe when it's all said and done, you're going to get about 40 different recipes. You're going to get probably 20 to 30 awesome shake recipes. And like I said, just overwhelming support and empowerment. As far as getting your products, we have awesome packages in place that will save you a minimum of 40% on everything you need to do the 30 Days to Healthy Living program. But I also remind you, don't forget about your skin and the other personal care products that you're using, because those too are impacting your body's ability to eliminate what's been stored. Okay, so we want to decrease our toxin intake, not just by what we're putting in our mouth, but also by what we're putting in our body. So thank you guys all for tuning into this. I hope that you all learned at least one new thing that you can take and apply to your day, with or without Arbonne. But I do really hope that you will get back in touch with the consultant that shared this with you and really find your fit. figure out how Arbonne fits into your life. And like I said, if it's jumping into our 30 Days to Healthy Living and Beyond program, I could not be more excited to see you on your journey. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. And again, thanks for joining in.